The CBS Sports family of networks. The highest standard in sports television, including the CBS Sports Network, Showtime Sports, CBSSports.com, and the CBS Sports Radio Network. The best in sports online, on radio, and on the air. CBS Sports. Expect it here.
The Daytona SportBikes, the nimble, demanding, and fast bikes that make up what amounts to AMA Pro's PhD class in speed. From amongst these barely able to vote athletes will come the future stars of the sport, and we've met them all season long. Tough competitors such as Garrett Gerloff, who works at two-time World Superbike champion Colin Edwards' Texas-based boot camp, doing virtually every odd job that needs to be done. Jake Lewis, whose season has included his high school prom and hanging out with his neighbor, 2006 MotoGP world champion Nicky Hayden. Jason DeSalvo, who, by his own admission, is more frightened at the prospect of changing diapers for his soon-to-be-born twins than taking a tight apex turn at 120 miles an hour. And talk about tough as nails, Elena Myers, who was back in the saddle just weeks after breaking her collarbone. Finally, J.D. Beach, who took a moment to let those afflicted with his same challenge of stuttering to never back away from your dreams, simply because it may take a little while for you to express yourself.
If you're a kid watching this interview, I mean, you got to remember, even though you stutter, you're still normal.
These are all remarkable people taking on the Herculean task that is Geico Motorcycle AMA Pro Road Racing. They embrace the danger. They welcome the challenge. They are the ones who will carry the story forward. The next generation of racing greats.
Welcome to the third race of our AMA Pro weekend from New Jersey Motorsports Park in Millville. It's what we like to call your CBS Speed Spectacular. Now, with the championship decided, there's still much to do. There are a lot of guys who still want to do a lot of showing off and accomplish something. Hello and welcome. I'm Paul Page, and we welcome you to race number 2 of the GoPro Daytona SportBike Championship. And since we're talking about race number 2, obviously there was a race number 1, and you don't want to miss the highlights of that. On the start, watch number 85, Jake Lewis. He got the whole shot and led the field down into the very fast turn number 1. But it wasn't very long before number 6, Cameron Beaubier, found Jake Lewis and forged his way to the lead, while his teammate, number 8, Garrett Gerloff, found himself in trouble and laid the bike down. Gerloff was okay. Back to Beaubier, looking for a championship as he gets back around Lewis for the lead. Beaubier continued to push the entire race to the limit. He was looking for a championship. And that's exactly what he came home with, a race win and a championship as well. The new champion, Cameron Beaubier. So let's take a look at the points after that first race, and before we begin the second, with Cameron Beaubier well out in front of Gagne, a full 97-point separation. But we're going to have to keep an eye on that battle for third between Gerloff and Beach. Gerloff's off yesterday, cost him. We'll see what happens. Let's go to Scott Russell.
Thanks, Paul. Race 1, Daytona SportBike, we were missing a man on the grid, J.D. Beach. Had a little bit of a problem, had to go to the hospital. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I had just slammed my chest real hard twice, and the whole time it just kept getting worse and worse. And then when we're getting ready to do fan walk, my chest just got really swelled up. And when it got checked out, I had to go get a CAT scan and X-ray just to make sure everything was all right. And it's feeling all right. We're gonna race today and see how it goes.
The average person would have went home and laid in bed for a week. Over to you, Danielle.
Scott, another guy that had problems in race 1 was the number 8, Garrett Gerloff. Garrett, you were full of confidence before race 1, but had a little mishap. How do you handle that in race 2?
Yeah, just, I thought the left side of the tire was heated up more than it was, and just threw it into that left-hander, and it just didn't hold. But, it kind of knocked my confidence a little bit as far as front end, being comfortable with going into the corner and stuff. But, we feel good for, race 2, and I'm just going to ride my best and see what happens. So,
Scott?
Getting ready to go out on the grid. James Rispoli had an epic battle in race 1. How about today? Can you go a little bit better, you think?
Yeah, we've improved our race setup towards the end of the race. The bike's feeling really good, and race 1 was so much fun. I just hope to be able to do it and get my first podium today.
This kid's a fighter, so watch him today. Over to you, Danielle.
On his way to the grid is the number 5, Dane Westby. Dane, you've been battling that bike all season, but in race 1, you looked better than ever. Do you think this will play over into race 2?
Last year I got a penalty and started on the 4th row, ended up with the track record. So that's what we're going to keep doing. I like being back there and having to catch up, just run my own race, be smooth, and let that little Geico Honda do what she does best, be smooth. So this track's flowing, and we're just going to get out there and give these guys what for. There's going to be, JD's going to be out there today, and maybe Gerloff won't fall off, and maybe some other guys will. We'll see.
Paul?
Well, and there is your new champion. Cameron Beaubier ready to fight once again. Will it be, in fact, another win? If it is, then the new champion will have his 11th this year. We'll be right back.
AMA Pro Daytona SportBike on CBS Sports Network is brought to you by Geico. Saving people money on more than just car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. And by the all-new Bolt from Star Motorcycles.
Hi, I'm Tommy Aquino. I race for Team WD-40 in the British Superbike Series. I'd like to wish luck to all my friends in the AMA Series this weekend, and stay tuned for all the action on CBS Sports Network.
Tommy Aquino, who set the track record here in 2009, but Cameron Beaubier broke it yesterday. Number 50, Bobby Fong. Let's think about him. The young man who really showed his mettle yesterday in a long fight throughout the race.
Growing up with a lot of kids in elementary school and in high school, I just hear, around that, they're getting in serious trouble and in jail. You read it in the news, or, obviously Facebook, you hear a lot of things, but I just try to stay out of that, and I'm just, really thankful that, I had racing in my life. I'm just really thankful, my dad put me into racing when I was 5 years old, because, I don't know where I would be today. Most of the kids I've grown up with in Stockton, California are not doing too much with their lives nowadays, they're already in jail or dead, but I've been really focused on racing and try to succeed and, make this my future, and, I just want to try my hardest and do it for myself and obviously my family.
The likable Bobby Fong, who just might be the next Moto champion. Well, let's take a look ahead now and see what we think about what's going to happen today, Scott Russell.
Well, everything for Cameron Beaubier today will be icing on the cake after being crowned the champion in the race 1. So be looking for him to do much of what he did yesterday. And then a day at the beach. We got JD Beach back after an accident he had leading into race 1. We missed him while he was at the hospital. It's good to have him back on the grid. And then Gagne versus Gerloff. Now this battle for second place in the championship is still up for grabs for these guys, so keep your eye on that.
Boy, there's just so much going on. Let's go to Danielle Teal.
And the newly crowned champion in Daytona SportBike in 2013, Cameron Beaubier. But over with the 85, the guy who challenged him the entire race yesterday was the number 85, Jake Lewis. Jake, you had the race of the season. You had your best finish yet. How do you plan to come back in race 2 and take that step up to first place?
Yeah, race 1 was really good for me. I got off to a good start and ran up front with Cameron and learned a lot of things yesterday. And you know, I'm really eager to win a race, and, you know, I'm just going to give it my all and push from the very first lap. You know, Cameron's wrapped up the championship yesterday, so I know he's going to want to try to break away and win today pretty easily. So, you know, just get off to a good start. We made some changes overnight, and the bike's better, so I just want to try to win today.
Well, as you look ahead now, very close to the start, let's consider about the domination of the man right over there. We're talking Cameron Beaubier, the new champion, 10 wins this year. This could be number 11. We'll find out shortly. And we welcome you back to New Jersey Motorsports Park. They're completing the lap. They're going to pull up to the line. Here is the grid. The new champion sitting there, Cameron Beaubier, the second row.
Yeah, you can see J.D. Beach is back in there from going to the hospital yesterday. Westby back here in 10th. Now, this kid lost a knee puck, had to run the whole race one without it yesterday. So, here you have it.
You may think, oh, all right, they got the champion. That doesn't mean the season is over. It means there's a lot of guys behind him who have a lot to show off. And right now, next year's owners and sponsors are keeping an eye on everything.
Take a quick look at this track map, 2.2 miles, 14 turns. A lot of action going to happen down in that turn 1 area. This is the most vital spot on the racetrack. Get a good drive out of there and make your way on the front straight and give yourself a good shot, maybe to drive past somebody at the start-finish on the last lap.
Down track side to Danielle.
Even though the championship was decided in race 1, there's still a battle going on for third place between Garrett Gerloff and J.D. Beach. Only 4 points separate them.
And there they go. We are underway. Once again, this is SportBike, race number 2 from New Jersey, into that very fast first turn.
Great start by Beach. He looks to take the lead right there, Paul, up the inside. Over the hill and 2 they go.
Beaubier comes flying around the outside, though. I guess that tells us what we were wondering. What was he planning today? Kind of take it easy or nail it?
I think he's going to put more nails in that coffin, really. I don't think he's going to fool around with these guys. You're going to see the best of Cameron Beaubier again today. He's going to be pushing hard. He's got nothing to lose today.
And when you take a look at J.D. Beach, you've got to remember that the guy sitting there on the 95 had that bull ride yesterday, wasn't able to race, really sore. Can you imagine what that ride is like?
Bruised lungs, bruised sternum. He's out there riding, wrestling this R6 around the racetrack again today. That's what these guys, these are warriors on these motorcycles. And look at Jake Lewis. He wants to get up in there and play again. He had a great run yesterday.
Lewis on that blue and red number 85, sitting in third place right now. Cameron Beaubier is out in front. The field has not really separated all that much. Everybody's still pretty tight in pursuit.
JD's trying to get a run right here through these fast kinks right here as you swoop left on the right on the front straightaway.
And lap number 1 complete. SportBike with a bit of a problem on the front stretch. Want to show you this. This was from earlier, and this was J.D. Beach. Look at this. Ride that bronc, baby, and hop back on it. What a job he did.
That's amazing skill right there. I mean, and a little bit of luck too. Don't forget that. But that's what bruised the sternum and his lungs. So he's riding sore out there. And look at Cameron. He's already making a break.
And that is your problem there from the front straightaway. We saw just a puff of smoke, and then Joey was able to get the bike off the track, hopefully without any oil getting on the surface. At least they have not yet reported anything like that. See, that's the run there.
Well, it's unfortunate for Joey. I mean, that just kind of sums up the way his whole season's gone this year. Not been good on the tri for him this year. He's been struggling, and Lewis slides up the inside right there, Paul. He's moved J.D. Beach out of the way. Now can he see if he can run this guy Cameron Beaubier down and have a little bit of a battle like they had yesterday?
No, I'm not giving up on J.D. Beach that quickly. I mean, he's right there. That was a good move, of course, by Lewis, but this is still very tight at the front. Gagne, of course, is right there as well.
Yeah, both of these two, second and third. Beach and Lewis, both of them live in Kentucky down there and train. Jake Gagne is making a good run. He's kind of dropped these guys off the back of him right now. Gerloff still on the motorcycle today. That's positive. He had a little accident coming in this area right here. Right as he goes left yesterday, he lost the front end and lost a little bit of confidence in the bike. So he's trying to find that again today.
It's hard to imagine a guy like Gerloff. You saw him there on the number 8. He did get off, slides across the grass, gets right back and gets on. Did you do that?
Oh yeah, I jump back on him. I used to get back on and win the race. So it was different, yeah. But
I shouldn't have asked that.
His bike wasn't rideable, obviously, or he would have got right back on it.
Well, and of course, Rispoli, take a look at him. He was in that battle for 5th coming in. They call him the Rock.
Well, he wasn't happy. I talked to him this morning, and he just cannot get this Suzuki working the way he wants to. He's tried the bike high, he's tried it low. He's trying to, it's tough to get this motorcycle to do what he wants to do right now, and we know Rispoli's got much more in him right now. I think he's definitely been held back a little bit by the machine he's on. Team's great. They just haven't been able to find a happy setup for that thing, so he's kind of frustrated right now.
Rispoli on that yellow bike, a former Supersport champion, and of course, like so many of them, races flat track as well.
Yeah, well, these guys flat tracking these road race bikes. You can see them backing in the corner, and that's hard on the brakes, downshifting, letting the clutch out, and maybe a little bit of rear brake. Oh man, Gagne's really got that thing working over the top of the hill. It tried to throw him off right there.
There's Bobby Fong. You met him earlier. Fong sits back in the field right now. He's at 7th.
He was in that epic battle in race 1 with Westby and Gagne.
Well, Gerloff's still having trouble. You see him coming to that corner, and it really rattled on him.
Yeah, he's definitely not running as good as he had in practice or qualifying. I don't think he's found the form. Actually, the lap times are really good right here, right now. I'm looking out here at the 122s. Pretty good pace for today. I think it's about the same as yesterday for the lead pack, but there's more guys running in the 22s today.
Gerloff with Rispoli right behind him. You saw him as they had to come around a slower rider. In fact, Rizzoli had to pull up for just a second.
That's J.D. Beach, and it looks like he's got a problem.
Yeah, it does.
Something's going on right there with the bike, or maybe he's just hurting too bad to continue. We're not sure here.
If it's a
now
motorcycle,
he's back in it. It looks like maybe there was some kind of glitch in the motorcycle because he slowed down and then now he's accelerating again.
They come flying through here.
Oh boy, Westby definitely did not get the start he wanted on the 5. Something happened to him somewhere along the line because Wolverine's definitely better than that. He's going to be looking for a way around the 95 pretty quick right here. It looks like JD's kind of wounded duck out there in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but it looks like JD's really back on pace right now. It just was a temporary slowdown. We wondered what it was.
We got a red flag.
Wow, red flag. The race will be stopped. That's your reason sitting right there on the ground. It's in an unsafe position. The officials are taking no chances whatsoever.
That's right out of the back door right here, coming out of the last corner, coming on the front straightaway, which is not where you want to get off.
So with the red flag out here at New Jersey Motorsports Park, we'll have to do a little clearing of the racetrack, line them back up, and then off we go again. So don't go away. Be packed in just a few minutes, and the sport bikes will continue.
It was a spectacular race here 3 years ago in the sport bike class. You couldn't have asked for a better contest, as half a dozen riders led the charge to victory lane. The 5 of Dane Westby looked like he was destined for the win in the final laps until disaster struck as he got into a lapped rider and crashed out. The 3 Yamaha riders of Tommy Aquino, Josh Herron, and Cameron Beaubier fought it out in the final corners, with Aquino coming home with his first and only AMA Daytona SportBike victory.
Well, we are still under the red flag created when 86 Ben Young laid the bike down in a very precarious position. He appeared to be okay. We want to show you the top 5 at the time of the red flag, and Question answered. What can you do during a red flag? Well, in fact, you can work on your motorcycle. So, Scott, what are they doing right now?
Well, obviously they had a clutch slip problem, and that can happen off the start. You know, maybe JD rode the clutch a little bit long.
Beach's bike.
JD Beach's bike, 95 there, and so they've got time now, luckily, for JD that this happened. Now he's going to get a new clutch, and he'll be able to restart the race with that clutch and hopefully be able to work his way back up to the front. So,
and they can do pretty much anything that they can actually accomplish.
Hey, we've seen engine swaps at Daytona. We had a long red flag there a couple of years ago, and Jason DeSalvo swapped motors and went back out and won the race on a Ducati. So there's a lot that can go down.
Yeah, and so part of what the crew has to do is kind of guess at how long the red flag is going to be and then decide what they can do. Let's go to Danielle.
That's right, guys. The number 95 has been chasing issues all weekend, an injury and what looks to be a clutch problem, as Scott said. JD, this red flag must have come at a pretty good time, almost like a gift for you.
Yeah, for sure, Danielle. I mean, I was just trying to stay out there. The clutches kept getting worse and worse, but my team's working real hard, and hopefully we can get a new one in there and get going again.
JD Beach. Of course, remember that earlier in this event, he had that run that actually took him out of race number 1. We thought he was trying to try out for the PBR, bull riding kind of style. Look at that.
If I see that, they'll be signing him up for sure, because he hung on to that thing. That might be longer than 8 seconds.
Wouldn't you have considered getting off of that at some point there?
Well, if there's something coming at you, you might want to let go. But, I mean, he's trying to save that thing and get back on it and keep going, you know. So, obviously, if you're not about to hit anything, you'll try to hang on to it as long as you can.
You got to thank the New Jersey Motorsports Park and the AMA officials who are jumping all over getting that track back. And as you can guess, you can't have even the slightest bit of moisture of any kind on that surface.
Well, when these guys come flying through here like they will, you know, and guys and girls, they want to be hooked up. You hit anything like that, you could go down quickly.
Let us remember the points. Even though we have a champion, most of the rest of that is not yet decided, and there are some pretty good battles. For example, JD Beach, whom you just saw, and Garrett Gerlach sitting pretty close together there.
That's right, and Gerlach, he's looking to go better, and that's a long shot to be able to reel Gagne in right now with the amount of racing that we have left.
Well, let's send it back to pit side and Danielle.
The number 8, Garrett Gerloff, is still searching for that first win. Garrett, this red flag came at a good time maybe for you to get back out there and put it down on these guys.
Yeah, just, you know, I got a bad start again, and I just really need to work on that. And, you know, if I can get a good start, I think I'll be okay, and I can run with those guys, but just a little tense in those first couple of laps, and I just need to loosen up and relax a little bit.
So we'll see what he can come up with, Garrett Gerloff, on the number 8 later today. Remember, he had his incident earlier here.
He did. This is an area, turn 3, A or B, if you want to call it, and, you know, it's one of the 3 left-hand corners on this whole racetrack. So whether that had anything to do with it or not, being on only 3 left-hand corners on the left side of the tire does not carry as much heat, so maybe.
And, of course, that was earlier in this great long day of motorcycle racing. Well, I have something special to tell you about here. I want to tell you about Marine veteran Brendan Fitzgerald and his dog Russell. They were guests of Yamaha this weekend. Brendan suffered severe head injuries, and Russell, his service dog and companion dog after that incident in Iraq. Yamaha's Ron Hebben, well, he gave Russell a custom-painted Yamaha racing bull, a gift that Russell obviously appreciated, and created his own little road course in the Yamaha tent. I want to thank you for your service, Brendan. You and Russell have a great weekend at the races. Come on, Russell, come on over here. Isn't that nice?
It's nice. I went in there and I saw that bowl with the Russell on it. I thought, well, they've made me something to eat out of, and it turned out it wasn't mine.
You went right for it. Danielle?
The number 85 is battling just like he was yesterday in P2. But, Jake, does this red flag throw a bit of a red flag into your race?
No, I don't think so. I actually think it's an advantage because I kind of got off to a rough start and got held up a little bit behind JD. So Cameron already had a little bit of a gap. So I feel like if I get a better start, I can run up there with him. You know, I did my fastest lap of the weekend just in the first 3 laps right then. So, you know, I'm just going to push it as hard as I can and hopefully run right up there with Cameron and battle for the win again.
More and more people waiting, looking for the opportunity to get out and get onto the race course. Jake Lewis, what a great kid he is, out of Princeton, Kentucky, another one of those Kentuckians. What's in the water down there? Because between Owensboro and Princeton, the Haydens, everybody?
I was going to ask you. You're right across the river there, aren't you? Or
Yeah,
we've
been accused of being Kentuckians.
Yeah.
Where I come from, Evansville, Indiana.
I'm not sure what's going on up there.
But he is one very good kid.
He really is.
As are most of them when you think about it in this series. Well, they do have time. We're under a red flag. The red flag came out when 86, Ben Young, laid the bike down. He's okay. We saw him climbing over the barrier, but they had to get the bike out. It was a precarious area, and you don't really want them trying to dodge a motorcycle laying out in the middle of the race course. They say we're about 4 minutes away now. Now, Scott, they're going to reform a grid, aren't they?
They will do that, and then they'll do it in the order that the guys were stopped in, running at the time of the red flag. So, yeah, they needed to get out there. They needed to clean the racetrack up. Obviously, there was some fluid on the track after Ben's crash as well. So that's really what this is all about, getting the bike, get the track right.
You see the 40 bike, that's Jason DeSalvo, and he's kind of over around the corner there. And there they are, Romeo and Romilly, the twins from the DeSalvo family. You remember, he had told us once he's a little more afraid of changing diapers than he is of racing on the race course. Congratulations, guys. Well, it gives us a chance with the red flag to just do some of those nice things. We're glad we were able to do them, but now, when we come back, let's get to some serious racing again. Well, as promised, we are getting ready to go once again, and repairs look like they're in good shape and complete. They formed the grid. We're ready to race, and we are off. 15 laps yet to go.
Boy, I tell you what, that new clutch in that bike really worked well. JD launched that thing like nobody else off that line. That was awesome.
So JD gets a great start after the work in the pits, and he's leading the field.
Everybody's kind of got a tiptoe through that left right there. We had a lot of people go down over the weekend there. Now Gagne, that's Jake Gagne right on his teammate.
Yeah, Gagne's right there, and then Jake Lewis just behind him. That's first, second, and third. Look at the battle up front.
Gerloff just put the move on Rispoli down the inside, down there on the hard on the brakes, so he's getting aggressive. Look at Jake Lewis. He's all over Gagne now. He's going to the front.
Watch the 43 of Rispoli. That bright yellow bike takes the lower line in there. Just ahead of him, and his next target is Gerloff. Oh, look at this run. But look how far we've seen the fade there.
JD Beach is faded back already. He's back now in fifth spot. I'm like, something else going on with that, because he had a blinder of a start, and now Gagne's leading the way.
Well, with Gagne out in front, right behind him is Jake Lewis. And they come down the front stretch once again. Into one. Lewis leads them in. Everything remains the same there. The front four beginning a breakaway. And of course, as Scott just mentioned, number 95, J.D. Beach, who had the clutch working. Apparently it didn't work at all. Let's go to Danielle.
One of the riders that capitalized on the red flag was J.D. Beach. Scott, you guys put in a new clutch. You got a great start in the restart, but now there seems to be an issue. What could it possibly be?
There's a whole bunch of things. Obviously, you have to take a good part of the engine apart when you're putting a clutch in on the thing. So we'll find out here shortly if he's coming into pit lane. But it was a pretty quick clutch that we weren't ready to do, so it's kind of hard to say at this point. We'll find out shortly.
You know, that's a valiant effort, though, by a crew anytime. You take on something as substantial as changing the clutch and not really knowing how much time you have. AMA said about 5 minutes, but when they're ready to go, it could have been 3 minutes. It turned out to be closer to 5, but still.
Yeah, they were able to get it done, but like you said, they're going to have to go digging in there and try to figure out what happened. It just has not been his weekend. It's basically what has happened. Boy, Gagne's jumping the curbs right there, doing everything he can to stay with Jake Lewis.
And you know, the surprise to me is that Cameron Beaubier, who was so strong in the start, is back there. Matter of fact, he's sitting 5th right now.
I know he was back a good bit that last lap, but he's made all that ground back up, and now he's parked right on the rear wheel of James Rispoli. Let's see if he can get around James. Obviously, James is struggling this weekend with setup, and
Rispoli's that bright yellow number 43 just off to the right. There is the 6th of Cameron Beaubier. And there's always that issue. You may be able to come screaming through the back half of the field. Closer you get to the front, the harder it is to get there.
that's true. You can see him kind of lay off a little bit. He's like, I couldn't make the pass right there. I'm going to lay off a little bit. Maybe he'll dive down to the inside right here on Rispoli. Yeah.
There it is. Boy, just that simple. He is so smooth.
I mean, he's passing in places that you don't see riders passing normally on this racetrack. That's how strong he is. And now he's looking to go up the inside of his teammate. I mean, you just make one slight mistake with that kid around, and he'll capitalize on it.
He gets down inside of Gerloff, and he takes the place away from Gerloff. Let's go back up to the front. Jake Lewis, number 85. There he is, the leader of the race. Let's go to Danielle.
The number 85, Jake Lewis, said he was going to take advantage of the red flag situation to try to get a better start and a better lead on JD Beach. He's leading the race right now. Do you think he has the pace to take that next step up on the podium?
Yeah, I hope so. He was kind of disappointed yesterday with the second. He really thought he was going to win. He seems to be doing okay right now. If he could get away from the rest of the pack, I think we could do it today.
He's got the 32 sitting right behind him of Jake Gagne, who is sitting right up there in the points and wanting to challenge him for the 4th position on the course. Remember, though, the championship is all completely decided.
Well, I think he's got bigger problems than that, and it's in the way of the number 6 right now, because he's sliced and diced his way through this field like melted butter, basically. He's right there now with Lewis, and that looked effortlessly for him to pass Gagne down the inside back there.
You know, and I think you made a good point a moment ago, and that is that it seems like that Beaubier can pass about anywhere he wants, not necessarily in what you would draw on the course map as a passing zone.
No, I know, and it's just unbelievable the way this kid rides the motorcycle. He gets things done early when he arrives at a corner. He's so smooth on the motorcycle. He never looks like he's working very hard if you're watching.
Well, now I'd say JD Beach is in trouble right now.
Well, JD's in trouble, and Jack Lewis is in big trouble right now, and there it is. Down the inside. There's going to be a break.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, and they're all in trouble when this kid's on the racetrack.
I'll tell you what. Lewis has to give way to Beaubier as he comes screaming around and takes the lead. Oh! And Lewis drops it. Probably in an attempt to really try to stay with him, the bike goes down.
Well,
there's some frustration.
Yeah, that bike's in a bad spot right now. As you come over the top of that hill, that's in the big impact zone. So we've got to get that thing up. And here you go again. Oh, he lost the front end as he come over the top of that hill. You're carrying a lot of lean angle, and you come out right over the top of that hill. It was before the front end really lightened up, so he'd already lost it on the back side. And just, man, he was bound and determined, it looked like, to stay with Beaubier this time, but not working out for him.
So sad, because he had such a great run going right up until that moment. We revisit it once again as, well, there is it exactly as Scott Russell described it, and JD Beach just that quickly is out of first, then out of the race. We'll be back with more.
AMA Pro Daytona SportBike on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance. Get a free rate quote today. And by the all-new Bolt from Star Motorcycles.
And there are so many things happening at New Jersey Motorsports Park. While we were away, Jake Gagne also came off the side of the course. We're not sure what happened, but nevertheless, he is out. This is your leader. This is your champion, Cameron Beaubier. My question now is, he is so good here. You've talked time and time again about him passing wherever he wants, and where sometimes you would think mathematically you're not going to do it. Where does he go now when this season is over?
Well, that's a big question, I think. Unless they know something that we don't. You know, if Yamaha's locked him down with a contract or what, they may have plans to try to hang on. Obviously, to somebody you want to play, hang on to. So here, let's have another look right here.
First, we're going to start and watch JD as he just, after they worked on the clutch, they got it working, but not working good enough. He was out of competition. And then, of course, Jake Lewis drops the bike, and that puts him out. And then while we were away, all of a sudden we looked up, and Gagne is walking away from the bike.
And he's a bit beat up, too. He's walking slow. That one...
Whenever you have grass hanging off of you, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, and you know, normally you'll slide off on the low side, you won't get hurt, but he must have flipped it away on the high side or something because he was walking pretty gingerly. And Gerloff now finds himself out there by himself in second.
His teammate is out in front of him, so it's going to look like it's a great day for the team. Gerloff, who had his problems in the first race, has come back very strong here, running in second place. Very likable kid. I got to talk to him the other day for a few minutes. Kind of quiet, but very likable. And we've been kind of keeping track of this too. The 68, look at the color. What does that tell us?
Well, that's Dustin Dominguez on the Kawasaki Ninja ZX-6R 636, and they're back racing with the RS Racecraft team and looking pretty good out there. He's been on Superbike all year this year, and now decided to jump back down. He'd hopped right over this DSB class and went from Supersport straight to Superbike, and now he's back in the DSB class, and hopefully these guys will be able to get this team going and keep this Kawasaki out here for a while. It's good to see the green bike back out.
I was going to say, you're looking at a green bike, I bet that means a lot to you. You did pretty good on the green.
I still bleed green, man. I tell you, that was I had my best years on those motorcycles and a lot of success, and it's good to see them back out here running around in the AMA. We've missed them for the last several years out here seeing those green bikes, so hopefully we can build on something here.
It looks like they're giving it a good run. Nice little pack that they're running with as well. Dominguez is actually running in 11th place right now. Let's go to Danielle.
A new bike and a new class for the number 68, Dustin Dominguez. Chase, we know this is a new deal on the Kawasaki Ninja for you guys. He just dropped down to 12th, but we know you guys have just been working on this thing all weekend. How are things coming along?
You know, we're making progress every time we go out on track, and Dustin's really starting to mesh well with the Kawasaki Ninja, and we just look forward to making progress every time we go out and go to Laguna.
It's a tough, tall order to try to come in here on one weekend and expect a good result because these guys are dialed in, you know, up against the Graves team and all the teams that they got to go through to get to the front. It's a long road, I'll tell you. So they got their work cut out for them, but I think they got the right guy on the motorcycle. It's going to be fun to watch.
As you saw, the 7, that's Fernando Armentini from Venezuela, who got around while we were watching that and talking about the Kawasaki. And it's good to see someone from Venezuela as well in this battle and from anywhere in the world. That's what's so cool about this.
Yeah, we lost our regular Venezuelan, Robertino Pietri. He's gone over to Spain to race this year. He was here last year running Superbike, but Armentini's doing a good job out there.
Oh man, look at this fight going on. Westby, Solis, I'll tell you what, that is a tight little battle right there as well.
Westby on that 5 Geico Honda there, and his teammate Solis on the M4 Hot Bodies Racing Honda as well, so they're going at it right now.
There's Dane Westby, runs under the moniker the Wolverine. Solis is right behind him on the 3 bike.
And that's Zemke lurking around behind him back there on that Triumph, so he's looking for a result today, and 7th spot he runs.
Let's go back to Danielle.
A disappointing finish to the weekend for the number 95, JD Beach. JD, considering everything you've been through, I know you're battling with Garrett Gerloff for 3rd place in points right now. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it just wasn't our weekend, and unfortunately, we all can't have years like Cameron, and I mean, he's done great this year, and just wasn't our weekend. We still got one more race to go in Laguna, so I mean, we're still gonna get the bike going and push hard, train hard until then, and see what happens.
And He's got a great attitude, you know, for being beat up like he has been and having that bad luck. So
he doesn't know how to say I quit.
Man, there's no quitting that kid at all. But there's no quitting these guys either right here. They're going at it down in turn 1.
Look at Jason DeSalvo as he tries to get inside on that. The new dad looking pretty good today. Racing for those twins now. And there is JD. Unfortunately, we don't really like that shot because that's in the pits and that's not where he is supposed to be. But he's a guy that sticks with it. You know, stuttering situation. He just doesn't know how to give up, and that's nice.
I know.
And like so many others.
He's just an awesome kid, and he's going to win him one soon. I'll tell you what, always smiling, and that's what you like. And we got a great group of kids in this series now, and I think the talent pool is as deep as I can remember it ever being in the AMA.
Westby continues to lead this little fight, but boy, he is being pressured from behind by just about everybody. Looking at their lap times, they ran a 1:25. Opposed, let's just compare that to Cameron Bobby at a 1:23. So that just kind of sums up what league he's riding in. And these guys here got their own battle, but they're way off the pace of the lead group. Or the leader, I should say. The good news is when we're talking the leader, which is Beaubier, he's so far ahead, not in contest with anybody, he gets us a chance to look at stuff like this. Exactly. And then you saw DeSalvo try to make a move. He's still working on it. Can he get down on that inside? No, he cannot. Zemke running that high line on entrance to 1 right there. He just kind of sitting out there. DeSalvo, like you said, looking down the inside. Wasn't nothing there on Solis that time. And Westby's definitely got him breathing down his neck. He's doing a good job of holding him off right now. And he had fun yesterday, right? I mean, in the first one, and he said today he's looking to go better. Doesn't look like they really gained much, but he's definitely up in top 5 right now, in the 4th spot, actually. Sitting at 4th, and as a matter of fact, Fong is just ahead of him. They may be coming down on top of Fong shortly. You're never quite sure. Is a battle like this going to be helpful in terms of speed because the leader of the group is going so fast, or because you're defending one another, do you end up running a little bit slower than the average? Well, if they keep freight training like this, they don't keep messing each other up, but you start trying to pass each other and swapping positions, that's when the pace typically comes down. So there may be a rider in this group right here that believes he's faster than Westby. There's 3 of them right there, so we won't know until one of them gets by and then see if they can extend that lead from him or pick up the pace. But it looks to me like there's parts of the racetrack that Westby's really strong in, and he's able to hold these guys off. And the closing laps now with just 2 to go. And that means that these guys are thinking about where they have to be now at the end of this lap and set themselves up for that final lap run. Boy, Westby's tried one another a lot. Yeah. So they know where everybody's vulnerable. They know where the mistakes can be made. They know where everybody's strong. Let's see how this plays out. Well, Benny had a good move. He broke his teammate right there. And then when you do that, you tighten the radius of your corner up because you entered a little bit in tight. And then he ran a little bit wide on the exit, and that allowed Westby to shoot right back up the inside in turn 2. And as we move back over to the start-finish line here in a moment, we'll see the leader come by because Cameron Beaubier very shortly will be starting his last lap. There he is, 1 in race number 1, taking the white flag with 1 more lap to go. 14 turns, and he will have a checkered flag. But as we know, so much can happen in those 14 turns. Well, to put it in perspective, his fastest lap of the race is a 1:21.9. The next closest guy to him is a 1:23.1. So this guy has been in a league of his own this weekend, especially here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. Wrapped up the championship, and these guys have yet to finish this battle. Yeah, they continue to hammer. Westby, Solis, they are on one another. The 3 bike, the 5 bike. Benny's on the 3. Westby looks like he's got an issue. He just sat up right there. And he does. Oh, man. I thought, what's he slowing down? He's going to let his teammate go flying into 1 and just sit back. But obviously, on the final lap of the race after that tough battle, and suddenly Westby has his problem. He drops back. He's trying to stay at speed. He's going to look try to get around Zemke right here again. back to the front. The new champion in SportBike, Cameron Beaubier, who has just absolutely dominated this season, is looking right now for a checkered flag, and with it, his 11th win of the season. You talk about dominating the sport, there he is. That's the man that can do it as he takes the win here, now his 11th. So we're going to take a look here at how this battle is going to come to the line. Right now, Benny sits back in third.
Westby was able to find his way by Zipke right there.
They're going to bring this thing right to the line. And there it is. That is the finish.